Hey there, welcome to Toy Talk with Mike and Chad, episode 78. I'm Mike,
Chad.
and the toys that we're going to be talking about today are really nothing specific, I don't think. This is just kind of our year end wrap up. We just shot our best of the year video, which I probably posted a day or two ago. So that was, your top 10 action figures and my top 20 action figures. But yeah, kind of following the tradition. I guess we've been doing this channel. We've had like 3 year-end wrap ups now, or two.
2022, 2023, 2024. Yeah, three. That's our third one.
So yeah, we just kind of do an episode where we talk about our collections, the channel trends, what we're looking forward to, all that sort of stuff. So I kind of made a little list of topics, and I don't know if you had a chance to think on
I
all those
thought about
things.
some of them I'm not going to weigh in on, but others I will.
Because like I'll tell you guys how many toys I bought this year. I figured you probably won't because you don't want your mom to find out.
Well, hit me.
But okay. So first, a couple things about the channel. We are a small channel here. I appreciate every single one of you guys that watches. I know we have quite a few people that watch and never say anything, which is fine. But I also really appreciate the people that watch, comment all the time. Some people seem to go through phases where we have people that comment a lot and then they kind of go quiet for a while. Anyway, I just want to give a special shout out to Scott because he's been great about watching and commenting a lot in this past year. So he's been a real support to the channel. But yeah, so I just kind of looked at our last year's recap video and then I kind of just compared to this year. So last year in 2023, we were up to 2.4 thousand subscribers, 2,400 and change. This year we're at 2.7. So we had 300 new subscribers, which is pretty modest little numbers there. It's nothing crazy, but it's 300 new subscribers.
Yeah,
So
thank
thank
you.
you if you're one of those new subscribers. Thank you for following us. I hope you're enjoying the content. Views. So at 2023, we ended up at this is total views across all our videos. We were at 470,000. So I was looking forward to this year kind of hitting that 500,000 mark, which we did and we've passed. So we are currently at the 554, pretty much 555. So we had 85,000 new views this year. So it's good. Again, still nothing crazy.
But hey,
We're still just a little teeny corner of the internet. And there are ways I'm sure I could grow this channel more. People tell me, oh, you should do shorts or you should go on TikTok or, whatever. I just don't want to do that stuff. I like doing these long form, hour long videos. It's not for everybody. I know it's going to be a niche audience. So, yeah, it'd be nice to see our niche audience grow a little bit more. So tell your friends. But yeah, still, I appreciate all the views, all the subscriptions. And then yeah, this year, so I was able to monetize the channel, I think 3 years ago. So I think the first year I made about $300 because they basically YouTube every time you earn $100 they pay you, but they take up some for taxes and stuff. So I made 300 less taxes, and then the next year saw a dip. I only got 2 payments, so it was like 200 less taxes. So this year I was back up to 300, so 3 payments less the taxes stuff. So again, that's nice. It's enough to pay for
a couple figures.
maybe 6 figures or something. So that's cool. So thank you to all you people who sat through these ads to let me get those 6 or 7 new figures. So that's all I really have to say about the channel. Anything you want to add about any of that?
Yeah, so it's definitely been an interesting year. Like, started off with the highest hopes, and this is going to be the year of Chad, and not not quite how it turned out. Like, Valentine's Day, broke my ankle, almost died in the surgery. One of our good friends set up a GoFundMe account. There were a couple people on the channel that actually donated to it. They would always ask on videos how I was doing, so thank you guys so much for that. All the support. Like, I love interacting with you all in the comments, and even though I don't weigh in sometimes, I do try to at least give like a thumbs up or some form of response to you. So thank you all so much for that support in 2024. And it's actually kind of interesting because I remember while I was staying in the hospital, one of the nurses, because I was in ICU for about 6 days, one of the nurses told me that he actually collects Star Wars figures, and I got on the topic of toys with him, and he ended up finding out about the channel and was going through the hospital.
Weren't you telling everybody about in the hospital?
Well, he told everybody. He was like, "Oh my god, this guy's got like almost 500,000 views. He's got like, he's got like 20 something hundred followers." And I was like, "Well, technically, it's like a sideshow on my friend's channel, but so like we got some experience that way." And I obviously had to stop buying toys for couple months while I was off work, so there are some that I missed out on that hopefully I'll get one day. But went through a strike, as did you. Your strike was last year. Sorry,
my strike was the previous year.
Yes, but went through a strike. Back at work, bought a business, and just working on getting all that straightened away. So I'm really hoping that 2025 is actually the year of Chad. Like, something good has to happen. But
buying a business, that's a pretty
buying a business step. Is a big positive step, but it does mean that I'm also going to have to tune down a little bit my purchasing, because
your time is probably a little more.
My time's going to be monopolized by making sure this is up and running, and I won't be paying myself for the first couple months, so I really need to watch what I'm doing. So, but I'm looking forward at collecting and seeing what 2025 brings.
Yes. Congratulations on the new business. Yeah, I don't have any big swings like that to my legs are still intact. I don't have any businesses. I'm not on strike. Work is going okay. So, but
I guess also big thank you to you too, because you were keeping me in the loop with a lot of the toy stuff, and like I know that caused some disruption with the channel. Having to do a couple episodes virtually, figuring out how to navigate this. But Mike was also my, I don't want to say errand boy, but Mike spent a lot of time swooping into my lobby, picking up packages, going to the post office for me, going to the grocery store for me. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Let's get into this.
Yeah. All right. So now, before I dive, this is a toy channel. We're going to talk about toys, I promise. But before I do that, I did mention to you that I love making lists. I keep spreadsheets of the toys that I buy, which makes making my year-end list much easier because I can quickly see like how many Marvel Legends I bought compared to last year and all that stuff. But I also love to make lists for music and for movies. So I posted on my personal Facebook my top 10 movies and my top 10 albums of the year. I don't know. I don't suppose you made any list about music or anything. Do you have any albums you want to recommend this year?
I do actually have 3 top albums this year.
All right, great.
So let's start with the most recent one, which would have been a surprise release. I wasn't really expecting new music from Snoop Dogg, produced by Dr. Dre, but they put out an album called Missionary, and it's got some incredible songs. Probably my favorite song on there is Last Dance with Mary Jane, and they have Tom Petty in the background. Okay. Like, really nice, smooth song. That came out probably a week to 10 days ago. So really last minute, but yeah, Dr. Dre is on a couple tracks with some fresh music. Eminem's in a song. Like, they've got some good stuff. The next album, and I wasn't sure how I would feel about this at the start because I am a big Linkin Park fan.
Yeah.
And after Chester passed away, I was kind of, I was basically knowing that they wouldn't do anything else for a while. And then when they announced Emily Armstrong as the lead singer. I was kind of because it was Paramore that she was a singer for, wasn't it?
No,
No, some another band,
another band that I wasn't familiar with.
but whatever it was. And then I heard "Heavy Is the Crown,"
Yeah.
which is arguably probably one of their biggest singles on that album. And that just
Well, I think the Emptiness Machine, I think was the first one.
Emptiness
But yeah,
Machine.
it's been big for them too. It seems getting a lot of airplay.
But I went through that whole song without even cluing in that it was new music because it did sound sort of like Chester did, and especially in the "Heavy Is the Crown," like in the long. Yeah, I'm not as good, so don't buy that album. But
they should have called you before they got Emily.
And then my favorite song, probably on that album, is "Two Faced," and just great music. I was excited about it. You know, I think they're able to go back to their sort of like original roots with Hybrid Theory.
Yep.
My number one is going to be "The Death of Slim Shady," a coup de grace, which is Eminem's latest studio album. So this had a full release in the fall, but it was released first on Apple Music in July, I believe.
Okay.
And I've got more respect for him as his career advances. He's been clean and sober for I think 16 years now, and his following sort of stops. It's either pre clean or post clean. Like I find I like a lot of his older stuff, but I can appreciate him more as an artist because he's not under the influence anymore, and his songs seem to have more deeper meaning. But this was a whole concept album where he was basically killing his alter ego Slim Shady, and because he was causing him too many problems, and wakes up and it's a dream. So it's a good concept album, but yeah, that was some really good music.
Okay,
those are my top three.
Cool. I'll just fly through these quickly, but my number one was the new album by Alkaline Trio. It was one of my favorite bands, and I went to see them live in March, and it was excellent. The band that opened for them, I was familiar with them beforehand, but they really impressed me with their live performance. So they're on my best of the year list too, which is called Drug Church. So check out their new album. Touche Amore. It's kind of a post-hardcore band that always delivers great music. Bad Nerves is this kind of strokesy mixed with Ramones type of band. Very cool. The new Sum 41 double album, I thought was pretty good. Linkin Park is also on my list, and I was never a big Linkin Park fan previously. I liked the first album, and after that, kind of casual fan. I liked their singles, but this was the first time I really delved into a full album again, and it was quite good. A Canadian band, Mother Mother. So these guys are great, and they're kind of weird, and their genre, they're kind of hard to define. I don't know how big they are outside of Canada, so if you don't know them, maybe check out Mother Mother. Amyl and the Sniffers. This is a Australian kind of pub punk type of band with a female vocalist. They're just a good time. Smashing Pumpkins, they're my all-time favorite band, and every time they put an album, I always recommend it. The recommendations are sometimes softer than other times, but this was a good album. Their last couple have been a lot more synth heavy. This one goes back to the guitars. There's not a whole lot of really strong hooks and choruses on it, but it's still a pretty rocking album. And lastly, there's a relatively young band from the UK called Lime Garden that my buddy turned me on to just like in November. So I haven't been listening to them all that long, but it's really nice, kind of dream pop type of worth checking out. Female vocalist on that one too.
Is this friend Miguel?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, our buddy Miguel is also, he's really into music, and so yeah, you and me talk toys, me and Miguel talk music. And I know he was really feeling Lime Garden this year, so
I'll have to check them out.
Yes, so that's that. Now, movies. again, we can just kind of share our list. We don't want to take up too much time with this, but do you have a top 10 movies or a couple
I
of
didn't
movies?
list top 10 because my movie experience was kind of interrupted because I like talking about movies that I went to the theater to see, and I missed about 3 months worth of movies. Didn't get to see Godzilla vs Kong,
So
or
you still haven't seen
I
that?
still haven't seen that.
Crazy.
I know. So I can give you a list of some movies that I did enjoy.
Okay.
So Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
We saw that in theater. That was arguably one of the better ones. Conclave. I did read
Yep.
the book when that came out. I
Don't spoil anything for
no,
anybody.
I did forget about the twist
Yeah.
at the end in the book. So when I saw that on theater, I was like, that was a great way to deliver that.
Hmm.
Would have never seen it coming.
Yep.
Um, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I did manage. I'm a Ghostbusters fan. I don't often like when they do sequels to classics,
Yeah.
especially that much longer. But it's a nice way to tie up the franchise, and I don't know. I dig that one. Gladiator 2.
Yep.
Uh, Big fan of the original Gladiator. I had my doubts going into it. Um, I don't again like seeing classics spoiled by unnecessary sequels, but
It
this was
happens.
good.
Yep.
Alien Romulus
Okay.
was another good one. Although I did find it hard to get into the cast members. Like I just found, overall I liked the atmosphere of the movie, but the characters maybe not so much. And the other one I wanted to talk about, I still have not seen yet.
Mm.
You Went Without Me, Nosferatu. But I am I'm not a horror person,
Yeah.
but I do like the Universal monsters. I like anything Dracula related, and
Yeah.
I remember the original 1922 film creeping the hell out of me. So I'm anxious to see what they're gonna do with this one. So I imagine if I had already seen it, it definitely would have been one of my most anticipated movies of 2025, 2024. Sorry, but I'll probably try to catch it before the new year.
All right. Okay. We'll talk about my favorite movies. So I'll just this is from my post on Facebook. So I looked at my spreadsheet. So I saw 180 movies this year, but I only saw 87 of them that were 2024
Okay.
releases. So for my best of 2024, I had to just go focus on those 87 movies. And so my top 10, I'll start with my number one was Furiosa. Number two was Nosferatu, which sorry I saw it without you, but it came out
For
on
the spur of the moment.
Christmas Day. I've got a big family.
Mm.
This past week has been a whirlwind of family functions, and me and my brother, when we went off to the comic book store on Boxing Day, he suggested we check out the movie. So we went and saw it, and it was great. Robert Eggers is probably my favorite director these days. I've liked all of his films so far. So yeah, Nosferatu.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How do you think that fared in comparison to the original? Do you think it was better? Did it keep some of the charm?
Like I don't know. Like the first one, it's a silent film. It's kind of
Mhm.
hard to really compare.
Mhm.
Like the first one is so influential with that like German expressionism, like so it's different. I'm glad they didn't try and make another silent
Yeah.
film. I just wouldn't really be into it. Um, I think Robert Eggers is brilliant at creating an atmosphere and a mood, and all of his movies thus far have been period pieces. And the language is so authentic, and the details are so authentic. He puts a lot of time and care. So, like, you really feel you're there in this movie, and it's beautifully shot.
Okay.
Which is what I expected. The only reason that didn't really make my number one is because Nosferatu is just a retelling of the Dracula story. And I know Dracula well, like you. I love it. I've seen several different movie adaptations. I've seen the previous Nosferatus. I've read different comic book adaptations. I've read the original novel. So it follows, like, he didn't stray too far as storyline goes. So it just felt like, I wasn't shocked when I was like, oh my God, this is happening. It's like, I knew this was going to happen.
Right.
So it kind of lost some of the wow factor just because I knew what to expect.
Okay.
But as far as the way it looks, it looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. In the same way that, like, when Francis Ford Coppola did his Dracula, is it better than, the Bela Lugosi? I don't think you can ever really beat the originals
Right.
and the classics, but it brought so many cool new visual elements to it that it was its own thing. This one as well. It's just the visuals of it are so cool and so dark and creepy and memorable that yeah, even though the story is kind of the same old, visually it's awesome.
Okay.
Number 3 for me was A Real Pain, which was the one that Jesse Eisenberg wrote and directed and starred in. Godzilla X Kong was my number 4. It was a big, dumb, fun movie. Conclave was my number 5. Gladiator 2 was my number 6. Love Lies Bleeding was my number 7. Anora was my number 8. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was my number 9. And my number 10, controversial pick, because I did see much better movies than this. My number 10 movie is The Crow, which was a bad movie. Don't get me wrong. The new Crow was bad. But the 1994 original Crow is my all-time favorite movie. So much so that I own all the movies, and some of those later sequels are pretty bad, but I still watch them. I've watched them repeatedly. I can find something to enjoy in every version of The Crow because there's threads from the original there. So even though this new Crow was nowhere nearly as good as the original, it was lacking in pretty much everything. Like, there was no character development. You didn't really believe in the relationship. The bad guys were forgettable. The mood, the setting, it was all off. But you came over and watched some of the bonus features with me, right?
I watched the whole new film with you.
Yeah, we watched the movie, but then we also watched some of the bonus content. And for as much as The Crow is getting ripped apart, and rightfully so, like I said, it is bad. Watching the behind the scenes features, you can definitely tell that a lot of care went into this. These people really loved the original Crow like I did, and they wanted to make their own version of it and wanted to do it well. It's unfortunate that it turned out to be kind of a stinker and that it got universally panned. But I will watch it multiple times. I've already bought the Blu-ray. I've already watched it a second time. I've already watched the bonus features. I'm sure I will revisit it. So even though there were better movies this year, like Dune 2 and stuff was great, I'm more likely to watch The Crow again than I am to watch Dune again. So there you go. Those are my movies. All right. So hopefully we haven't all lost you there. I think most people that like toys like movies too. So I think we're okay.
I would say so.
Yeah. All right. So I kind of break down our collections a little bit. So we'll talk about G.I. Joe, because that was obviously, I think it's my favorite toy line. I think it's probably yours right now too.
Right now, yeah.
Like, we just filmed our best of the year list, and I think your list was at least half G.I. Joe. Right?
There were 5 on there, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of G.I. Joes. So in 2023, I got 69 new G.I. Joes. This year, I got 52. So it has decreased some. And that's not to say that I'm being choosier, like, because we were completists. We got everything that came out. So fewer G.I. Joes did come out this year. And I'm still enjoying it. They're going strong. Hopefully it goes many years in the future. And we talked on our last year's wrap up. We always kind of say, like, what do we want to see next year? So I listed the 5 figures that I wanted to see for the coming year as Sneak Peek, Spearhead, Mainframe, Lifeline, and Doc. Now, of those 5, we got one of them. Doc came out this year. So if I'm going to pick my top 5 most wanted Joes for 2025, I will keep the same list, except I will replace Doc with Short Fuse, which he was one of my very first Joes from 1982. He was like the mortar soldier. He came with a, whatever. I don't even know what a mortar is, like a rocket launcher thing. So So anyway, yeah, I would like to see short fuse. Now for Cobra, I also did my top 5, which was Ice Viper, Heat Viper. I said all members of Cobra La as kind of one group, but even though we did get Nemesis Enforcer this year, I would still probably most like to see Globulus, the guy with the big snake body. So I'll keep him on the list. And then I also asked for the Neo Viper, which was the standard trooper from the 2002 relaunch of G.I. Joe.
Yes.
Which is probably the biggest long shot on my list because not a lot of people have fond memories of that era of G.I. Joe, but I do. And my 5th one was Wild Weasel. Now, of those picks, none of them came out this year, but they did make a Wild Weasel. He's coming with the HasLab Rattler Jet, which I did not get the Rattler. I got the first 2 HasLabs. I did not get the third one, but I plan to buy Wild Weasel on the secondary market. Our comic shop is kind of already committed to me that he's going to get an extra Rattler and he's going to sell me the Wild Weasel. So Daryl, yeah. So even if I have to pay $100 or $120 for it, I don't even care. I need Wild Weasel in my collection. I just don't have the space or the money to buy a $500 plane to get that one figure. So knowing that I'm getting Wild Weasel, I will replace him on my most wanted list with the Toxo Viper.
Okay.
So those are my top 5 most wanted. Now, last year, you only had, when I asked you your 2 picks, you had said you wanted Hooded Cobra Commander, which we still didn't get, and Armored Cobra Commander.
And those 2 are still going to be on that list.
All right. So those 2 are your still most wanted.
Yeah.
Anything else on Cobra or Joe that you want to add?
Not that I can think of. I'm just really enjoying the brand. Like I've said before, I came into it late. G.I. Joe wasn't as popular in the late 80s, early 90s where I was, so I can't really remember a lot of it, but anything that comes out I'm grateful for, but I really want to see that Hooded Commander and the Battle Armor Commander because I did have the Battle Armor Commander.
This is one of those things that I've never really heard it officially come from Hasbro, but I've heard it from several other people online that I think have more connections than I do. But basically, it seems like Hasbro doesn't have an appetite to do a Hooded Cobra Commander because the hood has ties to, I don't know, the Klan or something. They don't want that association. But there is a company, Fresh Monkey Fiction, that's doing a couple different toy lines that are very G.I. Joe-esque.
Yeah.
And they're doing a line called Soldiers of Fortune, where they've got a blue suited guy with a blue hood.
Yeah.
Have you seen this one?
Yeah.
So do you think you would buy this and put it in your collection as a Hooded Cobra Commander, or because it's not licensed, would you not?
It would come down to price.
They're not cheap.
No.
Like I think these guys are $37 American. So they're about, they're probably about 55 Canadian or so. But then you got to tack on shipping and all that shit.
I would consider it.
I'm considering it. I did buy one of Fresh Monkey Fiction's figures this year, well, in 2024, and it made my best of the year list. So they are quality figures. I like the look of them, and there are quite a few that are kind of G.I. Joe adjacent. And this Hooded Cobra Commander look-alike, I might be tempted to get because I don't think we're going to get a official one anytime soon. Okay, so moving on from G.I. Joe. Masters of the Universe is one of my other big collections. In 2023, I got 45 new Masters of the Universe figures. This year, I'm down to 27, which is not a surprise. And all these decreases, I think, are good things. I want lower numbers. And I think I skipped... Actually, I guess I should start with action figures in general. Last year in 2023, I bought 431 action figures. This year, in 2024, I vowed to buy less. I did, not nearly as less as I would have liked. 353 figures.
Okay, so you did... That's 60 figures.
That's like 80. That's like 80 figures less, right? To go from 430 to 350.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And it is under the 365, which is
one a day.
One a day, which I really did not want to hit that goal again because it's... I'm not made of money, and I can't keep up with those sort of numbers. So I did make some progress. So with each one of these brands, the fact that you're seeing less Joes, less Masters of the Universe, that's good. I hope to continue that trend, in the coming year as well. But Masters of the Universe, Of course, that was going to go down because the line is basically not at retail anymore. It's kind of almost an online exclusive. So they're not making as many figures. My want list for Masters of the Universe was Too Bad, Dragoman, 2000X Zodak, and Modulok. So I only had 4. Now, we didn't get any of them yet. We did get a Filmation Too Bad, but that doesn't count. I want a normal Origins of Too Bad. Modulok is coming out. I think he's due out in the first month or 2 of January. So to take Modulok off my list, I'm going to add 2 more characters in his place. And these are both characters that we got in the Classics line that were based on the Filmation cartoon. These characters never had toys in the retro line or anything, but it was Batros and Voltak. So these guys are both kind of Bat-style characters, and I really like them both. So I'd like to see them done in the Origins line. So you got any thoughts on Masters of the Universe?
I started collecting the cartoon classic
Cartoon collection?
cartoon collection line last year when they started putting the first ones out. So I've gotten every one of the cartoon collections so far. Probably my favorite would have been Prince Adam and Cringer.
Yeah, I didn't get that one, but I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cartoon collection, they're doing some nice things.
They finally announced a Hordak, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to avoid it.
I know.
I have skipped a few of them. I didn't get Cringer, and I didn't get Webstore, and I haven't ordered She-Ra or anything yet, but she looks pretty nice.
She's in my pile of loot with like 15 other things.
Yeah. But anyway, I just want to see them continue to expand on the Origins line.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I hope they continue the Filmation stuff for you, but I would just like to see the Origins line fill in a few more holes before it goes away. Especially characters like Too Bad, like some of the other want lists of Dragoman and Zodak from 2000X. Those are a little specific, and if they don't get to them, I'll understand. But I figure they have to get, like, the characters that were in the vintage line, like Blast Attack, and those guys they have to do. So hopefully we get all those guys eventually. All right, so I'll move on to Transformers. 2023, I got 22 Transformers in 2023, which was already a pretty big dip, I think, from the previous year. This year, I only got 11. So, it's shrinking, and I think it will continue to shrink. My wants were Gears, Windcharger, the Deluxe Insecticons, and any members of the Decepticon Justice Division other than their leader Tarn, who we had gotten. So those were my wants then. We got Gears this year. We still are waiting for a Windcharger update. The Insecticons, we got a 2-pack of them. So now I have 3 of the 4 Deluxe Insecticons, but there's still one missing. I still need Venom. So hopefully we get Venom to complete the Insecticons this year. And I know they're redoing the Constructicons this year to make a new Devastator.
I pre-ordered them.
Yeah, I haven't yet, but I don't think they'll be hard to find. I have all the Constructicons, but they're currently on my shelf over here as Devastator, like fully formed in his combined mode. But the thing is, I like the individual characters that make up the combiners. So I will buy the Constructicons again so I can display them individually on my shelf. So I know those are coming. So my other want list that I kind of hope to see is the Predacons. Because I have the Predacons as well, but I have them formed as Predaking on my shelf, and I'd like to have the individuals on my shelf. So hopefully we get Razor Claw and Rampage and all those guys. So that's where I stand for Transformers. I know you're not a big Transformers guy, but you got any thoughts on that brand?
I'm excited for the Constructicons. I also had all those when I was younger.
Yeah. Lots smaller then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this Devastator shapes up to that Devastator. I don't know if he's going to be bigger or smaller or the same.
I think he'll probably be somewhat smaller.
I think he's going to be smaller too, which I'm okay with, especially since I'm probably going to keep that Devastator fully formed. But yeah, I'll be curious to see. All right. Now this line, I debated whether I'd even talk about it at all. I'm only going to talk about it to talk about how much it kind of sucks. and this is Star Wars Black
Ah.
Series. Like, I like Star Wars. You
Yep.
like Star
Yep.
Wars, right?
Yep.
But it hasn't been fun to collect for years. Like, I used to get like 30 Star Wars figures a year. 2023, I got 3
Yep.
Star Wars Black Series figures. This year, I got 5, but 4 of those were older figures that were gifted to me by my cousin. He was clearing out his collection. He said, "Do you want this stuff?" So that he gave me some Force Awakens figures and stuff. The only figure that I bought on purpose this year was the retro card Greedo. And even he was a figure from a year or so previously, but I got him on sale on Amazon. So I skipped him when he was regular price, but I got him for cheap. But there was like nothing. There was no new characters that I was interested in. The one character they made, because I'll talk about my want list. So I did offer my want list last year, which was Hammerhead.
Which we got.
So he is one of those aliens from the Cantina scene. That's what I've been wanting Hasbro to do. Make the original trilogy aliens, and I don't know why they don't do it. And they finally made Hammerhead this year, but I pre-ordered them from GameStop. I put a deposit down, and then months and months went by, and the street date came and went. And I called them, and I was like, "What's going on with this Hammerhead? I'm seeing other people have it online. They've had it for months." And they said, "Oh yeah, Hasbro oversold it. We're gonna have to refund you your deposit, and can't get them there, or whatever." And so I could still go online and order them from another site, but they're already overcharging for him because he's $50 American, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then to pay shipping and customs on top of it, I don't want $100 for what's pretty much a standard figure. So I might wait, and maybe he'll go on sale someday. I don't know, because he already seems pretty limited. But I wanted Hammerhead, I wanted Squidhead, I wanted Reese, I wanted Cy Snoodles, and I wanted Name Nub. Those were like my choices. Now that Hammerhead has been released, I would replace him on my want list with Snaggletooth, another Cantina alien. So I doubt that'll happen. This line is basically dead to me. I keep considering boxing them up, because once a collection goes stagnant for me, it just it's not as fun anymore. I probably need that shelf space over there for other growing collections. So yeah, it's kind of a bummer that Star Wars has taken such a nosedive, because they have lots of cool characters they could give us, but they don't.
Yeah, so Star Wars, also kind of dead to me. Like, that line started when 2010,
Something like
2012.
that.
I came into that way too late, like way too late. So I did pick up a couple Star Wars Black Series figures this year, which came out of their archive. So
Yeah.
I got Bosk, one of my favorite bounty hunters.
Mhm.
I got Dengar.
Mhm.
I got, oh god, I don't even know how to say his name properly. Quill, the short little
From the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is.
Who else did I get? I got Forlom.
So you got Hammerhead, did you?
Yes, he's in my pile of loot.
Okay, so you don't have him in hand.
No.
Okay.
I did get him, and there is one more I got. Escaping me, but it wasn't 2024 toy, so that's okay. But yeah, the line's kind of dead for me too. Like I am a fan of the original trilogy, so I want to see all those aliens, all those droids. I don't want like 5 Andors and like 6 different Lukes. Like, I mean, one Luke is cool, but I don't want random humans.
I know, because it's all from the new shows and stuff. Like, they just put a wave of all the kids from the Skeleton Crew.
Yep.
And you know what? I don't have a problem with them making them, as long as they were making them alongside the good characters. But if Hasbro only has enough slots to make 15 new Star Wars figures a year, and they decide to devote 14 of them to some brand new character that, you know, nobody'd ever even heard of 3 months ago, it's like, no, come on, you got to give me some aliens.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm not actively collecting them, but I'm not actively collecting them. I'll pick and choose, but
I really don't know. Like, because once I confirmed that Hammerhead, my pre-order from GameStop was screwed.
Yeah.
My first thought, my impulse was to like go on Big Bad Toy Store and pre-order me one, because even though yours is in your pile of loot, they don't have him currently in stock. I think he's back in pre-order
Yeah.
mode. Um, but I stopped myself. I was like, well, do I even want this toy for this amount of money? I'm like, it will literally be like the only Star Wars figure I got this year. So I toyed with the idea of canceling or ordering it, and I still don't really know where I'm going to land, because I think I'm basically quitting Star Wars. But if I was to get like 5 more Star Wars figures ever, like Hammerhead was the top of that list. So I feel like he might be the last guy I buy, but I'm still not going to rush out and do it. I'm going to kind of bide my time, and
Yeah.
maybe he'll show up on Amazon or something eventually, so I can save on shipping. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to talk about Marvel Legends. That's my other biggest collection, probably. So I got 74 Marvel Legends in 2023. This year I got 66.
Okay. So drop.
Yeah, it's dropped a little bit. I could probably do better on Marvel Legends, because G.I. Joe, I still love all the G.I. Joe figures.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out on any of them. Marvel Legends, I still am in the habit of buying figures I don't necessarily want, but it's because I'm trying to get a build a figure or something like that. And a lot of figures that I did buy at full price, I saw on sale at the end of the year. And I told myself last year, I'm like, don't buy everything as soon as it comes out. Wait till the end of the year when it goes on discount. And I should have. Even characters like Odin, which was a cool figure, a big figure, but I paid full price for him. Now you see him discounted. The Crystal and Lockjaw 2-pack, you see that discounted. Like these figures that I paid a good amount of money for, I shouldn't have, because they weren't characters that I was like dying to get anyway. So I should have waited. Anyway, my Marvel Legends want list could be very, very long, because I still want a lot of Marvel characters. I grew up on Marvel. I still read Marvel to this day. I love Marvel. There's so many little obscure characters that I would like to see. So I cheated, because most of my list is teams. So I'd still like to see the Serpent Society.
Okay.
They have given us several members of the Serpent Society over the years, but they trickle them out every couple of months. So we've got like Cottonmouth, and we've gotten Eel, and but we've got about 5 or 6. But there's a bunch of really cool characters like Sidewinder, Diamondback, Death's Adder, and they haven't given us those ones. So give us the best members of the Serpent Society. The Guardians of the Galaxy, not the ones that we know from the movies, even though I like those characters. I like the original Guardians of the Galaxy, which had Vance Astro and had Martin X and Charlie 27 and Nikki, all these characters that like aren't included in the movie. But these were the characters that starred in the comic books throughout the 90s and stuff, and they were the original team dating back to like the 70s. And anyway, I'd like to see them made.
Okay.
They've given us 2 of them. We've got Yondu and Vance Astro, but there's still several more they need to do. The Slingers are a team of 4 teenagers that have, so it was like Hornet, Dusk, and Ricochet, and Prodigy. It's probably a long shot that we'll get any of them, but I would like to see them. And they were on my list last year. The other 2 figures that are on my list last year was Cypher, who is a character from the X-Men books. And I thought it was a long shot back then, because he is just kind of a dweeb. He's a skinny blonde kid, and his powers are being able to read any language. Not the most exciting power set. However, it's my understanding that in the comics, he's recently been turned into like Apocalypse's, I don't know, protege or something. And now he looks like Apocalypse, except yellow instead of blue or something. I don't know. I don't read X-Men books. I want Cypher from the 80s. So if they make his new Apocalypse look, I'll probably buy it just because it's him, but it's not what I want. And then the last one on my list last year was Death's Head, who I got this year, and he was fantastic. He was on my best of the year list. So my list hasn't really changed, except for I'm going to replace Death's Head with the kind of goofy character Slapstick. I don't know if you know him, but he's like a living cartoon. Yeah, so that's Marvel Legends. You got any thoughts on Marvel Legends?
Not really a Marvel Legends collector per se, but I am into the retro carded Spider-Man animated series figures.
Yep.
I believe last year I asked for a chameleon, which
We're getting?
we are getting. So that's exciting. Something about that very basic individual. And like after just recently seeing Craven too, I was excited to see that, hey,
Yeah.
they put chameleon into it, and I kind of enjoyed that animated series a little bit more. So that version coming out is going to be awesome. As for my wants, I would really, really appreciate it if they re-released Rhino and they re-released Lizard, because
Yeah.
I got screwed over by
They
Walmart.
did re-release Rhino, didn't they? Like he's already been a re-release.
He's been re-released, but it was so quick and sold out.
Yeah.
And any online retailers selling, like specifically eBay, for example, he's over 200. So those are my only two wants that they re-release.
Yeah, like there's some like the wave of Spider-Man retro Marvel Legends that are coming out. There was somebody in there that I was excited about. Kane.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm excited that we're finally getting a Kane. He would have been a character that would have been on my want list as well. Like if you asked me for a top 10 Marvel Legends, like individual characters, Kane probably would have been on there. So to finally get him, that's exciting. Yeah, and then the last brand that I really collect that's worthwhile talking about, because I do buy lots of little odds and ends. Like I buy lots of Godzilla toys and stuff, but they're still making them. I don't really have any particular want. I'll just wait and see what they continue to give me. But reaction figures.
Mm-hmm.
And reaction figures is kind of a broad category because it covers everything from bands to Transformers to weirdo little movies. So yeah, last year I got 82 reaction figures. This year I got 76. So
okay, so not
it's staying up there. And probably a good chunk of those were Godzilla reaction
Mhm.
figures. They've been putting out a lot of repaints of the Godzillas. So that's my biggest collection within a collection. Some of the other ones that I have a lot of G.I. Joe and Transformer reaction figures, but I think both of those are kind of winding down. And I even said the same thing about them last year. So they have trickled out a couple of more Transformers and G.I. Joes this year, but it wasn't much.
Sharkticon is still my favorite.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, I love reaction figures. So yeah, they never make my best of the year list, but they are great. I love them. So yeah, I'll say the same thing I did last year for once. I think James Bond would be a really cool reaction figure collection because there's so many different outfits and there's so many different versions of Bond and there's so many different bad guys and Bond girls that I wouldn't want like NECA to make them because then it would cost me a fortune. You know, they'd figures be $60 a pop and I would never be able to collect them all. They take up a ton of space. But Reaction, they're affordable enough and they don't take up enough space that I could collect the whole world. And another thing I would like, and I've been saying this for years, is one of my favorite movies when I was young was Young Guns, the Western with about Billy the Kid and his renegades. And it starred, Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen. There's never been action figures of those guys. And I used to say years ago, before reaction figures had really grown, that I wanted Funko Pops of them because they haven't made those. But I would much prefer reaction figures over Funko Pops. So that's my other want list for reaction figure. What about you?
I'm not a big reaction figure collector. Like, I'll collect some of them. I do think they're cute. Devastated that I had to cancel my Yip Yip monsters and my.
Oh, mine's in the mail. I just got a notification today that because I ordered it on Amazon, and so I'll probably have my Yip Yip aliens from.
Oh, look, mine's in the mail. Well, I had to cancel mine. I had to cancel the count, and I'm so sad about that. But I would love to see an Austin Powers line. I think that would be really good on reaction figure scale.
Especially if they did a Bond line, because then you could intermingle,
right?
But yeah, like I like Austin Powers too. I had I have Funko Pops of Austin Powers, and I did back in the day. I had a couple of the McFarlane figures, I think, when those movies first came out. But yeah, I would probably buy some of them in reaction figure.
Yep.
A fat bastard reaction figure would be pretty funny.
Put random tasks next to Odd Job, just
yeah,
it would be good. I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so those were the brands I had singled out. Now I know, like, we both collect DC, but you're more of a DC guy. You know, you're really into Mega Man right now. Like, is there any brands that you want to talk about specifically and have any want lists?
DC, first, I really think you need to step your game up, Todd. Like, I don't know what is going on with your toy line recently, but your pricing has gone through the roof. And I was okay with the trading cards,
Yeah,
like the start, but now you're giving us trading card display bases. Like, I don't want that shit. If
yeah,
that's adding extra price onto the toy, it's useless. I don't want it. And I'm not going to pay that much money for it. You need to stop putting out garbage that doesn't articulate properly. And like, I find this has come in waves.
yeah.
Um, it's been good. I did pre-order that Batman Kong set, but I ended up canceling it after I saw a few reviewers say that the Kong didn't really fully articulate. It was kind of
Yeah, like, I want
meh.
that not for the Batman, but
Yeah,
like, there was a Justice League versus King Kong versus Godzilla comic book. So that's kind of how McFarlane got the rights to do a
yeah,
Godzilla figure. And so, yeah, he's doing these 2 packs. The Batman King Kong pack has come out. And then we're going to get, I think, a Superman Godzilla pack. But, like, yeah, the King Kong is basically a statue. His arms go like this and his waist swivels, I think. But that's about it. And, you know, it's like, why didn't you give him knees and elbows and stuff? Uh, I would have still been tempted to buy it. I'm not that bent out of shape about the lack of articulation, but I'm hearing that it's like $100
yeah.
Canadian.
It's pricey. I think you got to get your likenesses a bit more on point. They really was it this year that the Spawn was released with the McFarlane figure. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was this year. Like, you made yourself not look like yourself. Like, I don't know how that's possible. You're the CEO
yeah,
of your own toy company and you can't even pull off your own face. Like, come on, man. You look
yeah,
darker skinned and Hispanic on it, and like you're not. You're
yeah,
a white dude. But even seeing Punchline, like, again, you could have done such a better job. It's not a terrible figure. It was better than the original shots.
yeah.
Made it look less butchy and whatever, but you've got a long history of toys to pull through, and we don't need X amount of Batmans or Supermans. And like some of the faces, I bought that stupid Action Comics Superman, and the boots weren't even the right color, and you had some of the stuff screwed up, and then there was the smiley, toothy Superman, and it's like, that's not even how it looks. And the dark side thing really pissed me off because
Mm,
that figure we were both excited about. Because they did have the build a figure and then the actual dark side figure itself, the
right.
mega figure that came out, and it was like, this looks so cool, but then he was loose, he was sloppy, wasn't really a good toy at all,
Yeah,
and
the
he was
arms just fall
expensive.
out.
And
Yeah,
it's just like, why? If you can't do this, I understand you're trying to keep it um, relevant on the market. But if you're pricing your toys $10 more than other brands, they need to be worth that $10 more. And I need to see better articulation, better sculpts. I need to see, better face sculpts, more
yeah,
accessories. Like, I don't want stupid card bases. It's good that you at least give us toy stands. That's one good thing. But
yeah.
if you're going to do that, put 2 peg holes in them, not just one. And
Yep.
certain things like that dark side really pissed me off, and it kind of soured me away from McFarlane. The only other McFarlane toy I bought within the last 3 months was the Arkham City Detective Mode Batman and the
Yeah.
Solomon Grundy 2 pack. So that was the only one, and that was okay. Again, I don't really need another Batman. It was okay to have Solomon Grundy.
Mm.
Um, but McFarlane, I think he's kind of on his way out for me.
Well, yeah, you probably don't need to be a completist with him because you're obviously not that
There's
happy with his
no.
product. I'll defend Todd a little bit in that I don't really collect DC Multiverse, but the few that I did buy this year because there was a character that I felt really compelled to get, I think they're all good. I got the Cassandra Cain
Mhm.
Batgirl. I got Ragman. I got the Frostbite Batman, and I
Yeah.
got the whatever they call them, the green Batman Superman mashup
Yeah, yeah.
fusion
Yeah,
Superman.
Fusion.
They're all nice figures. So they're good, but yeah, I think if I was buying all of his figures, I'd find a lot more of the flaws. And I am collecting his superpowers
Yeah.
line, and I think he's killing it there. Like, there's a lot of repaints, which is a little tiring, but I don't have to buy the repaints, and I
Not at
don't.
all.
I don't buy all of them. I've skipped quite a few Batman and Superman at this point, but he is doing some deep dives. Like, I wish he'd do some more like female characters and things like that, because Wonder Woman's still the only female he's done. But it's a fun line, and he's adding lots of vehicles. And even though I don't really like vehicles, they do add an element of
Yeah.
fun to this toy line.
Mhm.
Like, it really feels like it's coming together. The kind of thing you could sit down on. I could sit on the floor and play with my nephews or something with it, or something like. It's a fun line. So he's doing some good stuff, and I also enjoy his Pacific Rim figures that I've got over
Yeah.
here. Although I'm worried that he's not going to do much more with that, because he did Wave 1, which was like 8 figures,
And it seemed to
and
just
then it dropped right off. Then he did one lone figure, which was just a repaint, and he just put that one figure up by itself. And I was
Yep.
really kind of hoping for like a full second wave. So I'm hoping we get more of those.
I
But
mean, I shouldn't be too hard on him. Like, I will support the guy. I like that he makes his comics consistent at $2.99 a pop, because in the Canadian market, that does save us money. He's good at doing that, but the price point is killing it. Like, a lot of his toys have jumped up $5 or $6 in the last 6 months, and just not seeing that. It's almost like they're mass produced, and the quality has gone down. Now, I do respect that he has put out several good toys, and
yeah,
they're not all terrible. But my experience is that since I've really stopped collecting them hardcore, I've noticed that there are spurts when the quality goes up and down. So I'd like to see that a little more consistent, because there is potential, and you're not utilizing the whole DC universe.
yeah. All right, we should probably wrap up soon because we're getting close to an hour point. But I do want to do a quick little digression here, because something
Yeah.
you said. You mentioned McFarlane's comics are still $2.99. We talked about movies. We talked about music. We're both comic guys. You want to take a couple minutes to talk about comic books, and like, is there any that you're really liking right now that you'd recommend? Or
Really, the whole Energon universe that Skybound's been doing, everything I think is top notch. I wasn't a fan of the Scarlet series, but everything else has been cool. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the GI Joe relaunch. Um,
have you read issue 1 or 2 yet?
no, no,
Okay.
I'm waiting. I've started to prioritize for the new year, like what I need to
Yeah,
focus on, because I'm trying to be a better comic
I
collector.
know you're busy, but it is frustrating that, like, I know you collect a lot of the same books as me.
Yeah, we can't talk about
We
it.
can never talk about it because you're always like 10 months behind. I'm like,
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree with you that the Energon books are all really good. So if you're not reading those, so Transformers, G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, those are all published by Skybound, which is an imprint
of Image.
They're really good. The Conan comics from Titan Books that's a consistently good series. Over at Marvel, I really like Jed McKay's Moon Knight, and I did like his Blood Hunt event that he had done this year. I think it's also, is it Image that did all the Universal Monster books too?
I think so.
I've been enjoying those. So they did Dracula, I think, last year, and then this year we got Creature from the Black Lagoon and Frankenstein miniseries. Those were good. Yeah, it's still a mixed bag. Like, Spider-Man has been kind of a dumpster fire for a couple of years now, and yet I can't let it go. Anyway, anything in DC? Cassandra King Batgirl just got a new series, so
I heard that.
I've got the first 2 issues, and it's showing promise. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be an ongoing or a limited series, but it would be nice to see it carry on, because right now I'm not collecting any DC books. I wasn't really wowed by the Absolute books that they launched. I am still reading the Ultimate Universe by Marvel. It's kind of hit and miss. It's very talky. I'd like to see a little bit more action.
More action.
Spider-Man, but anyway, that's it for comic books, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, So just lastly, I guess, for toys, I'm just going to repeat the same thing I say every year. We always talk about, is there anything else that we would want that isn't already G.I. Joe, Transformers, whatever. The two brands that I would like to see, and I keep putting this out there in the universe in hopes that somebody picks up on it. Battle Beasts are one of my favorite toy lines from the 80s that hasn't been redone. Seems like everything else has been redone. Small little properties like Street Sharks and Barnyard Commandos, people have done those again. Mad Balls. I don't know why nobody's done Battle Beasts. So somebody should do Battle Beasts. I want new Battle Beasts figures. I'm not even really care about the format. I just want Battle Beasts. And for the love of God, can somebody make a Tank Girl action figure? I have liked Tank Girl since the comic books were published in the 90s. And the comic books still come out today. Like, we're decades into this character. She's a very toyetic character. Her boyfriend is a kangaroo. She drives a tank. Make a toy. I don't even care if it's even a Funko Pop. Make it a little vinyl piece. But yeah, it's just crazy that there's basically been never any Tank Girl merchandise. I don't even care if it's based on the comic book or based on the live action movie. Just give me something. So that's what I want. Last year, you said you wanted Punchline, which you got, and you wanted Army Ants.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to?
I'm still hard on the Army Ants. I want to see those.
That's a weird way to put that.
Cut.
Chad is hard for Army Ants.
Not like that. I still really want Army Ants, and I would say that I would also love to see. This is very specific, but Rock Lords. Yeah. Rock Lords were cool. Love those guys. And as far as Jada Toys goes, right now they seem to be focused a lot on like the original Mega Man series. From them, I would like to see Rush, Mega Man's little robot dog.
Okay, yep.
I'd love to see a Proto Man. I'd love to see them get into the Mega Man X series, which is like the grown-up Mega Man. And they have lots of lore to draw from them. And maybe the only other franchise I would like to see back is the Tick. Yeah. I'd love to see some Tick figures or Earthworm Jim. Like, I know they have an Earthworm Jim that's scheduled for release this November, which got pushed back again.
But I don't know if you're aware, but like in that collection, the Long Box Heroes, there is a Tick. There's two Ticks, I think, in that collection. So I don't know if you'll get around to making Arthur or any of the villains or anything.
Okay.
But if you just really wanted a Tick in your collection, I would recommend Long Box Heroes because they're nice figures done in that Superpowers style.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, I guess I didn't know if we'd have a whole lot to talk about, but we managed to fill a whole hour.
What about honorable mentions? Give like 5 honorable mentions from your top of the year list that didn't make it.
Okay, so you probably should have done that on our last video. But
I know.
Yeah, so we posted our best of the year lists. I won't bother with honorable mentions because people can watch my elimination videos and they can see the characters that just got eliminated at the very last. Like Gears, Jack-O-Lantern, those were characters that just were on the cusp of making my top 20. So if you're really curious about what other characters were almost in contention, you could go back and watch my, the final 20 elimination video. But yeah, if you've got some you want to name off.
King Boa, Quick Kick.
Big Boa?
Yeah, Big Boa. Jinx. Quick Kick. And Mutton Junkyard.
So all Joes again.
Yeah, all Joes.
Yeah, the Joe Classified line, I think they're great. If you're one of those fans that like, G.I. Joe needs to be 3 3/4 inches, I'm not going to collect these, because there are guys like that out there. I really think you should give them a chance, because it's an awesome toy line. I think it's been pretty much good right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But it's gotten better. Like, they're giving us really good quality figures now. Even if you just want to stick to the retro carded ones, you'd be missing out on a lot of good stuff. But the retro carded figures have been excellent. Like Duke, Cobra Commander, we both loved. Scarlet was really good this year. Yeah, they're great. So
everything is good. So many good Joes this year. But yeah, that's my honorable mentions, because I did say that a couple were hard to not keep on the list. But anyways, sorry to sidetrack that.
No, it's all good. So yeah, let's look forward to another year of collecting. Hopefully, wound back a little bit, not so intense.
You did a good job this year. I'm proud of
Mhm.
you. I know
Thank you. I did cut back. I just didn't cut back nearly enough, but I am going to try harder this year.
you reached your goal of being under one a year.
One,
Not by
one a day.
much,
Yeah.
or yeah, one a day. Not by much, but you did. So I'm proud of you because I know there is restraint, and
Yeah.
we often shoot the shit back and forth. Like I don't know if I should buy this, and it's like, well,
Yeah. I am. I don't have. I do have quite a few pre-orders outstanding, so I'm already. I am expecting new toys in January,
yeah,
March.
yeah,
They're like there's coming, but not as many as I have in years past. Like I think I've got about 20 pre-orders on Big Bad Toy Store, maybe another 10 with GameStop. But like I said, some of them are going like almost midway through the year, so we'll see. Um, yeah, we don't really have time to get into all this, but there's some rumors out there about the future of the toy industry. Like Hasbro might be backing away from, and if Hasbro, let's just say Hasbro stopped making Marvel Legends, that's a big part of my collection. I've
yeah.
been getting like 60 to 70 of them every year. Um, Star Wars, I'm pretty much done with. Transformers are kind of winding down because I've got all the characters I want. Masters of the Universe, it's kind of winding down. Like, so yeah, it's things like the reaction figures are still problematic for me. The superpowers line, if he goes really hard at that, so I'm still kind of a completist there, at least for unique characters. And then the GI Joe line is probably the biggest
Yeah.
money suck for me right
Yeah.
now. But I did not. I skipped the Rattler jet this year.
You
That was
did. That
tough
was a
to
big
do
one. Yeah. You're on the fence about that.
because I got the first two HasLabs, and so
Yeah.
those were an investment, and I was committing to getting 100% of the GI Joe line. So the Rattler is the first thing I have not bought, and it comes with one of my favorite characters, with Wild Weasel. So yeah, I think I deserve a little credit for not pulling the trigger on that. I didn't buy the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, there's a Mythic Legions dragon going up for pre-order
Yep.
early in the new year, which even though it would be super cool to have, I'm not gonna do that either. So yeah, there's some pretty big stuff that I'm passing up on. So believe it or not, I'm making an effort.
You have to. You have to. We have to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. That was 2024 in review. So on to 2025. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and yeah, see you next time. Ciao.
See you next year. Keep collecting.